The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a complex game. It has an insane amount of different mechanics: runes, climbing, cooking, weather effects, and many others. To fit everything into a tutorial in a way that it wouldn't be boring for a player is a truly monumental task for game developers. Yet Nintendo was able not only to make, in my opinion, a perfect tutorial, but also create one of the most memorable opening sections in the video game history. You start the game in the Shrine of the Resurrection, make your way out, watch one of the best title drops that was ever created, and now you are ready to explore the Grand Plateau. The progression here is quite straightforward. Talk to the old man, unlock the tower, get runes from 4 shrines scattered across the plateau, get a paraglider as a reward, and then you can leave the starting area. While on paper it looks simple enough, in reality the way the Great Plateau is designed is astounding to me. Even before you unlock the tower, you may encounter bokoblins and even find their small camp nearby. You don't have to fight them, but if you do, you are rewarded with a chest. What's inside doesn't always feel like an appropriate reward, but it's all about exploration first. Plus, fire arrows are quite helpful in this game. Unlocking the tower gives you an ability to use a map, and after some story-related cutscenes, you get an understanding of the main goal in this area, to get a paraglider. But the old man is willing to give it to you only in exchange for a treasure. So now it's time to travel to the first shrine of the game, where you acquire the Magnesis rune, and here is the first great example of how the game teaches you. It gives you a certain tool and explains how to use it, but it doesn't tell you what to do here. It's up to a player to solve a shrine puzzle with a newly acquired power. The only hint you get is highlighted objects that you can manipulate with the Magnesis rune. Other than that, you're not being told what you have to do here. It's quite intuitive and you don't really need any prompts or directions on how to unlock the way forward or how exactly to defeat the enemy. After you get a spirit orb from the shrine, it turns out the old man has blatantly lied, and now he promises to give away a paraglider after you complete 3 more shrines. Here you also learn about teleportation, how to use a scope, and place pins on the map. The closest shrine to your current location unlocks the remote bomb rune, and here, along with learning how to blow stuff up, you also get a brief showcase on physics interactions in this game. You can even launch yourself if you want to get a chest. Anyway, there are 2 shrines left, and you can do them in any order, but the one I prefer is to go for the one on the cliff, as you will find the old man's hut along the way. What's interesting here is that you learn different things depending on the time of day when you come here. If you arrive during the night, you will find the old man sleeping. If you wake him up, he'll tell you to wait until morning and that you can pass the time by the fire. If you get to the hut during the evening, the old man will be sitting near the fire and will tell you how to cook a meal. Finally, if you arrive during the day, the old man will be cutting trees nearby and he will give you a hint that you need to cut down a tree in a way that it would fall across the gap so you could proceed further. Also, inside his hut, you find a diary and learn about cooking a meal that would keep you warm, and moreover, it seems like if you prepare this meal, the old man will give you something called warm doublet. The diary lists 2 ingredients, raw meat and spicy pepper, but the third one is a mystery. Though the name of the meal, spicy meat and seafood fry, hints that the third ingredient is probably some fish, and the only fish in this location is Hyrule bass that you can catch near the tower. One amazing thing that I didn't actually know before making this video is if you don't get a warm doublet for recreating a meal from the diary, you can actually acquire it by getting to the top of Mount Hylia later on, where the old man would be waiting for you and would give you this chest piece that will protect you from low temperature. It's a great way of rewarding player for exploration. But let's return to the shrine on the cliff. Here the game teaches you how to climb. Technically, you already know how to do it, as it was one of the requirements to leave Shrine of the Resurrection, but here it's more interesting as you learn by practice how to manage your stamina properly. Both Stasis and Cryonis shrines use the approach similar to two others. The game provides you a description of a power, but how to apply it in order to solve the shrine is up to you. Cryonis Shrine is located in the snowy part of the Great Plateau where the temperature drops and you start to take damage. The game simply tells you to find warmth. And there are many ways to resolve this problem. You can just pick up a torch, light it, and it will be enough not to freeze. Or you can use food made out of spicy pepper. Interestingly, if you don't visit the old man's hut and go the opposite way through Forest of Spirits and Hopper Pond, before crossing the river, you will arrive at the Bokoblin camp where you can find a lot of spicy pepper and a place to cook. Also, a bit off topic, but I found an amazing detail that I've never heard about before. When you die, the color of the game over phrase is usually red. However, if you freeze to death, words would actually be in light blue color. It's a small thing that many won't even notice, but it shows the great care the developers have put into little details. Now, when all 4 shrines have been completed, the only thing that's left is to meet the old man in the Temple of Time, learn his true identity, and get a paraglider. And while you can leave right away, there are many things you can discover in the Great Plateau. Several Koroks, hidden treasures, chests at the bottom of a pond. This starting area is just a small preview of the whole game, but it establishes what you as a player will experience throughout the rest of your adventure. Every explanation is carefully integrated into the story. This opening section doesn't only teach you how the game works, but it does it in a way that you feel like you learn it by yourself instead of being taught, and that makes it the perfect tutorial for a video game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share your thoughts in a comment section and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also check my previous videos, and as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.